Pocket Camp, the black sheep of the family. Almost anyone who is a fan of Nintendo's life simulation series of games will agree that its mobile spin-off doesn't even get close to any of the main series games in its conveyed mood. I will be the first to say that if you want the Animal Crossing experience, Pocket Camp is not the place to look. But despite a ton of negative opinions, Pocket Camp still has a large active player base and is pretty well received with 4.5 stars with over 400,000 reviews in the Play Store. Hell, I still played myself. Quite actively even, as I managed to receive pretty much every event item in the last 2.5 months. Which, for anyone who doesn't play the game, means I played a lot. So obviously, I can't think it's a bad game, right? Honestly, it's okay for a mobile game of its genre. It has a lot of content and still contains small parts of what you would expect from Animal Crossing, which is always a good thing, although 90% of that is the graphics. If they were to change all of the models and sprites, I believe Pocket Camp could be a solid standalone game. But it's not, it's an Animal Crossing game they mobile-ified, so it's perfect for pointing out the differences in designing a traditional full-price console game and a free-to-play mobile game. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the mechanics of Pocket Camp, I will obviously have to explain them a little bit. Anyone who isn't familiar with Animal Crossing mechanics in general, I recommend picking up an Animal Crossing game since they are fantastic, but just for the purpose of this video, I will try to explain as much as is needed when it is needed. So the basic gameplay loop of Pocket Camp is you try to befriend animals and make them come to your campsite. You befriend them by fulfilling requests, which consists of bringing them certain items you can collect around the world, and in order to get them to your campsite you need to craft them certain pieces of furniture. That furniture is made from materials you get for requests, and you can then use it to decorate your campsite. I don't know about you, but I think that sounds pretty good on paper. Travel around the world catching bugs and fish and collecting fruit and seashells and bringing those to your cute animal friends is also very much an Animal Crossing thing. And the added crafting just sounds like New Horizons. Except when actually played, Pocket Camp is not calm and nice as it would be if it really were an Animal Crossing game. So here are the two main ways Pocket Camp mobile gamifies the gameplay loop. Timers and checklists. Let's talk about timers first. Almost everything has a 3-hour timer slapped onto it. You can do 3 requests for 4 animals at a time, and they switch out every 3 hours. You can plant flowers in your garden, they take 3 hours to grow. Every time you shake fruit of a tree, it starts a 3-hour timer to regrow. The only things not bound to those timers are creature spawns, requests from animals at your campsite, and crafting. The last one instead uses vividly different timers ranging from a minute to multiple days. But Rakuria, I hear you say. All the other Animal Crossing games use timers as well. Shops have always changed their selection daily, fossils appear daily, the money rock is a daily occurrence. Are you trying to tell me all Animal Crossing games are evil and trying to get me addicted? No, I'm not. Well, kind of, but that's just what makes those video games not boring. There's a huge difference between a 3-hour and a 1-day timer. Daily shop selection changers say, hey, if you don't like today's wares, why don't you come back tomorrow? Having gotten through most things you can do in a day, even though there still is a lot of content left, says, you've been playing for a while now, why not take a break and actually get 8 hours of sleep for once? Whereas tying everything to this 3-hour rhythm says, if you don't do this now, you'll miss it. And 8 hours of what now? You know you get new requests at 11 PM, so you better don't sleep before those are taken care of. It's the difference between wanting a player to come back and wanting a player to not leave. Events are another thing that occurs in all main series Animal Crossing titles. Usually they happen on one day and provide you with either a unique bit of gameplay that rewards you with special items, or just the items themselves. They're scattered around the year and give you something to look forward to. And if you miss one, it's not tragic, although if you really wanted a thing from the event, and even though it's not really intended gameplay, you are able to time travel back a day or two. Pocket Camp handles events in a different way. There is one big event that runs over the course of 1 month, and 3 sub-events that happen during that month. There is always something that's happening. Smaller goals fill out the time between sub-events and events. Due to the events lasting multiple days, you will see what it is you can get if only you complete every single sub-event goal. Or buy boosters for real-life money. There are constant reminders of how long any current happenings are still running. And it's not even only 1 or 2 or 3 events at any given time. Fortune cookies, which are basically loot boxes, are only available for a limited time. Reissued fortune cookies for an even shorter time frame. Special item crafts, which are mostly crafted from the premium currency. Reissues of special crafts. Hey, have you seen yet? Only 16 more days of looking at this until you won't be able to craft it again for who knows how long. And the events are neither fun nor original, they are just 3 different things, each running on their own 3-hour timers that just get repeated monthly with different textures and rewards. 1 month you fish for jellyfish, the next one is sharks. Then there are checklists. Having a goal is nice and it feeds the completionist in us when we see how close we are to finishing the fossil display in the museum. Now if only I could dig up this one damn thing I'm still missing, that would be nice. When you load up New Leaf and you know you should water your flowers, check out today's store selection, dig up all the fossils and find the money rock, it gives you something to do. And the bigger things like the museum where you can donate one of every fish, fossil, bug and artwork are something to work towards over longer stretches of time. The thing with New Leaf and all the other main series titles is that there is not a lot of stress on those activities. Sure, you get rewarded, but it's clear that those rewards are entirely optional, and most of them will wait for you while you go ahead and play the game however the hell you'd like. And as infuriating as it can be, the fact that there is no one simple way to go and get all of everything leaves more gameplay. You just keep going and trying and catching fish and digging up stuff, and when it's something new, it's a nice little surprise. And if you're more goal-oriented, you still have to wait and hope for that one bug to show up. Because it being the right season and weather and daytime doesn't mean you just have to go to one certain spot and grab it. You still have to wait and hope it's still hard. And that goes for well-designed quests in other games as well. You know your job is to head out and kill X dude, but that entails challenging work. You have to locate him, you have to fight him, and if you can't beat him, you first have to level up or upgrade your armor or get better spells. And those tasks contain smaller tasks like gathering ore for armor, or fighting monsters to gain XP, or foraging and selling every little thing you can find to buy a spellbook. But how exactly you want to approach this task and when you do it is your decision, and ideally completing it requires a certain measure of skill. None of these mechanics will keep someone checking their phone and paying to get one mini step further though. And that's why we see goals being treated completely different in comparable mobile games. Pocket Camp doesn't have a museum you can slowly fill over the course of at least a year. It has a ton of different goals to replace that though. You have daily goals, stretch goals, event goals, sub-event goals, player levels, animal friendship levels, Happy Home Academy, regular and event rooms, the catalog, flower trades, even the regular tasks animal friends give you. Now, some of those may not sound like evil checklist-esque goals that try to keep you addicted. Levels are a great example. Lots of games have leveling systems, and most of those aren't particularly addicting. New Leaf doesn't use a visible level system at all, so to compare those, we will have to look at a different game. Let's take Stardew Valley. The game has a cute build-your-own place in a small village vibe that is comparable enough to Animal Crossing, and there are friendship levels as well as player levels, just like in Pocket Camp. So how do you level those up? Friendship is increased by talking to a person once an in-game day and giving them up to 2 presents a week, bonus points on their birthday. There's a maximum of 10 levels, 8 for people you could be dating but aren't, 12 for your spouse. So most of the leveling progress is kept slow by the once a day and twice a week limits, but time passes fast in Stardew Valley, and if you wanted you could go to sleep at 8 AM right after talking to the one person you wanted to level your friendship with. Also, every person is available pretty much all the time, so you just have to find them. You don't unlock anything from befriending people, that is, besides cutscenes and having a useless baby sitting around unsupervised, and it just feels nice. Oh, except for the wizard. The wizard unlocks stuff. The level limit is set so that you can absolutely get the maximum level with everyone if you play for a while, and since the NPCs are written really well, talking to them is a reward on its own. Player levels in Stardew Valley are gained from just doing whatever it is you're leveling, so it's very passive, and even though you unlock crafting recipes as you level, it's a gradual build-up where you don't even have the needed materials at first, and your needs for them slowly increase as you get the means to farm more efficiently and meet those needs more easily. It's a leveling system that applies the classical challenge curve, where the game gets more challenging up to a certain point, where the player gets more powerful and can suddenly overcome the challenge, only for the challenge level to rise once again afterward, rinse and repeat. So let's discuss why Pocket Camp's leveling system falls under checklists, rather than being just a gameplay feature. Since player levels increase only when friendship levels are increased a certain number of times, we will need to understand the issue with friendship levels at first. Remember how I said that well-designed quests contain a lot of invisible steps to take? Gaining friendship XP is also one task made up of a lot of smaller tasks, but none of them are even slightly hidden. They don't need you to think at all, they just require you to tap stuff and wait while collecting those sweet dopamine releases from seeing that you got one step further in your series of taps. You see, friendship is mostly increased by request fulfilling and talking to a visiting animal, which, as you remember, can be done every 3 hours for 4 randomly determined animals at a time. The amount of XP you gain is shown to you plainly. You can see what level you unlocked their clothes at, or their special request, or their portrait, and what level they need to be to visit your campsite. Having an animal at your campsite means they level up faster, since they get 3 times the XP from talking. Even though they won't reliably want to talk to you every 3 hours, you don't have to trust in RNG to make them appear on your map, which means you want to be able to invite animals to your campsite. They also only tell you their special requests at the campsite, which you need for Happy Home Academy classes, which you need to do to get the materials to craft some special items, which you need to impress your friends list, because everyone can always visit your campsite, so it needs to look perfect at every point in time. Which means you need to increase friendship levels with everyone, which you do by request fulfilling, which means you need to give them stuff that you can collect around the world, but you can't know what they want beforehand, and you can only carry so much stuff at all, so it's best to have a certain number of every common item at all times, which means you go around every 3 hours just grabbing everything. Which brings us down the ladder to one of the only 2 mechanics that actually require skill, fish and bug catching, listed as 1 here because they both work the same way. Tap one thing, wait, tap when the bubble pops up. But other than that, what I just listed was a whole lot of interconnected mechanics that don't require you to think or play skillfully, and instead just need you to be on your phone and complete all those little jobs that are neatly laid out for you. You always know what you need to do to finish the next thing, which means you always know at what point of the line you are right now. And that's true with pretty much every part of the game. Goals are all available to see for you before you can collect the rewards, or even complete them. You can see the amount of Happy Home Academy class sets there are before they are available to play, and by play I mean look at the furniture you need, add them to your favorites, wait for a day for them to get crafted, and then finish the class without having to think at any point. The catalog is sorted into neat little categories where you can see how to get every item. In New Leaf, only items you've already owned are visible in the catalog. You don't get to see how much you're still missing, you only get the positives of things being added. But Pocket Camp shows you all of the negative space you have yet to fill. So all of that sounds really exhausting. You might be thinking, that doesn't sound like a good game at all. And that is the point. It's not meant to be a good experience. All of that ties into the core of the problem, the usual culprit, money. In all honesty, you can probably replace all of the mentions of mobile games in the script with free-to-play games. But mobile games more often than not fall into that category since people are unwilling to pay full price for a phone game. Many free-to-play games still have a large development cost, Pocket Camp being a great example. The huge variety in models and textures those games usually put out are a double-edged sword. Having lots of content keeps players interested, but it also means more cost needs to be covered. I've heard people say they would have preferred Nintendo just put out a full Animal Crossing mobile game. However, we know the price tag that comes with it. And Nintendo might like to try out new things, but they are not so naive as to believe a $60 mobile game would be bought enough to bring in what they spent on development. I know I probably wouldn't buy that. My phone just isn't a gaming console, so just by the nature of its controls and battery life, games on there just can't hold up to playing the same game on a device made for gaming, which to me justifies not wanting to buy AAA full-price mobile titles. But that means the money needs to come from somewhere. So every mechanic is designed to be a chore rather than actual fun. You get difficult to attain goals, but every step is documented in such detail that you know you're making progress, and you're invested enough to not want to give up. So because it's not fun, and maybe you missed out on a timed event, or you're so close to getting there but you just can't do it within the time frame, or you don't want to wait, you get a gracious offer of paying up to get to the nice part right away. There are loot boxes in Pocket Camp, but I don't think they are needed to cultivate some whales going to pour hundreds of dollars into virtual furniture. For anyone who doesn't know, whale is a term originally used in gambling to refer to the people who bring in the most money for a casino. While most people would only spend so much before they give up, whale pretty much refers to addicts who invest large sums of cash. That term has since been adopted by game developers to describe the players who keep free-to-play games afloat. While the average player might not invest much or anything at all, a few people will pour insane amounts into that game. Those are the same people scammy mechanics like loot boxes and boosters are trying to entice. Oh, also there's loot boxes. I have mentioned it twice so far, but there's not a lot more to say about them. You get a few if you're a good little worker bee and log in every 3 hours, or if you're plain lucky, but since it's a loot box, you usually get the worst item, so it's only there to keep your hopes up and maybe entice you to buy another one and try again, because all of the nice ones are there for only a limited time. TLDR on the mechanics of Pocket Camp and most similar games, you can get everything without paying a cent, but it sucks and it's supposed to, so you just give up and pay. Nonetheless, on the specific case of Nintendo, it's a good thing for them to branch out into the mobile market. It opens more accessibility to their games. After all, not everyone can afford a $300 console if they are just somewhat interested. I just said a whole lot about why Pocket Camp is a horrible game, and I really believe it all, but I still want to decorate my camper and trap my favorite villagers in my cute little cabin to force them to be happy forever. I too am just a mere mortal trying to make downtime at work pass by faster. With the recent release of the Dr. Mario mobile game, I think that Nintendo put out something that is far better suited for mobile phones. Sadly, they added the classic wait for your life to refill so you can play again thing, but this game actually contains fun gameplay parts. What we need to see a positive change is to bring it forth ourselves. To stay within Nintendo territory, they put out Super Mario Run a while ago, which contains a few free demo levels and is then $10 for the rest of the game. Which, in my eyes, is a wonderful solution. But as long as the reviews for that say that they don't want to pay $10 for the full game, mobile games will stay shitty. Getting a full big game for free without being pushed to pay simply isn't an option. Not as long as we're living in capitalism, and I can't see that ending anytime soon. So if you want to see a positive change, actually pay game developers in full. Don't try to get everything for free and then complain about ads or in-app purchases, and instead invest in something that contains the changes you want to see. And I'm not talking about $60 full-price mobile games. If you're a fan of Super Mario games and have $10 lying around, why not get the full version of Super Mario Run? We'll work on overthrowing capitalism later. Baby steps in the right direction. Thank you for sticking around until the end, or skipping to the end where I plug my stuff, that's cool with me too. If you liked the video and like what I'm trying to make here, give me a thumbs up and maybe stick around by pressing the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you didn't like it, please do leave criticism in the comments. I'm always looking to improve. If you like my general vibe, maybe join me on the live stream. I am trying to do those every second Sunday over on my Twitch. The link for that is in the description. If you are interested not only in me shitting on a whole genre of games, but in Animal Crossing content as well, you should check out Crossing Conversations. It's a live stream I do every Sunday at 8 PM BST with our host Inui Alina and a few other friendly folks on Twitch TV/Inui Alina. It also contains a lot of us complaining about Pocket Camp, but we're trying not to make it too negative. Links to that and the previous episodes are in the descriptions as well. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you around.